Good evening, everyone. My name is Zon Eastis, and I will call this meeting of the Guilford Select Board to order. This is the Monday, December the 9th, regularly scheduled meeting. So the first order of business is to, are we ready to read the rules?
Oh, yeah, we are, yep. Ever since I didn't have them that one time, I can't remember where, I was online, right? I was Zooming, and I'm like, oh, that's so embarrassing. I didn't have my notebook. So no, I've got it. All right, the Select Board, as required by law, conducts meetings in accordance with Vermont Open Meeting Law 1 VSA 310 to 314, except as provided in Section 313 of that title. At these meetings, the public must be afforded reasonable opportunity to give its opinion on matters considered by the Select Board, so long as order is maintained. Such public comment is subject to the reasonable rules established by the Chair of the Select Board, 1 VSA 312. The Vermont Secretary of State words it this way: the public comment period is not a free-for-all. The board chair may establish reasonable rules, and simply put, the Vermont statutes are there to set a constructive and civil meeting. How's that?
Thank you, Joe. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
Good. All right, so we'll move right on to the next item on the agenda, which is changes to the agenda order, and I think there are none tonight. I think we've got everything we need in good order. So now is the moment in the meeting where we open the meeting up to public comment. If there's anything that anybody would like to speak about, we have 10 minutes that we can use, or we can Zoom right along. So is there anybody here in the room that wants to say anything? It's not now anyway. Yeah. Okay. Anybody online want to say anything?
Okay, good.
All right, I think we'll move ahead then. Thank you. Just know that this comment period is available at every meeting for folks in the community to speak, and we have another moment later in the meeting as well. So now we'll move forward to the regular business of the board. We will have approval of the previous minutes, so that's November 25th.
I so move.
Thank you.
I will second that.
Thank you. Good. Is there any good discussion here at the board about those minutes? All right. Let's. Yeah, we're all here, so all those in favor of approving those minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? All right. We'll move ahead to the warrants.
Okay.
Are you prepared, Veranda?
I am prepared. Okay. I move that we pay the following warrants. Payroll week 12/1/24 for the sum of $11,056.65. Payroll week 12/8/24 for the sum of $9,325.88. Expense warrant number 2511 for the sum of $17,697.16.
Good to see you.
Expense warrant 2511X for the sum of $3,484.59. Expense warrant number 2511R for the sum of $13,558.67. for a grand total of $55,122.95.
I will second that. Is there any discussion?
Yes. Okay, so among the highlights were $1,200 to BCTV, which is half of their annual contracted fee paid in 2 doses, $2,003.78, a great price on 2 new computers. The office one was a scheduled replacement, and one was for Jimmy, moving the highway department into the digital age somewhat, and $2,370 for cemetery maintenance from June to October. Another warrant, 2511V, was payroll taxes to the state, $17.75 to the Guilford Country Store for Danny's retirement celebration. And please note that this cost will be covered by reduced payroll expenses for the highway department. This was the only expense for the event, the venue, staff, cake and sound system were all donated, and that was some cake, wasn't it?
Yes, good cake.
Cakes. And Danny's kids and a lot of grandkids were there. It was great. And one last item was warrant 2511R, which was for $13,558.67, tax credits to 2 residents for overpayment of taxes this year. And that is what is.
All right, is there any further discussion here at the board about any of the warrants, any of the expenses? Okay, so all those in favor of paying these warrants, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? All right, thank you. Now we'll move on to updates and reports. We have 3 this evening, so we'll start with Erica.
Okay, I'll try to be quick. I'm going to skip over the Black Friday shopping that I did, but that's how the computers were such a good price, because even though we are a municipality, we still are subject to sales. So that worked out pretty good, and that's a great time to buy a computer. So I got 2 for basically almost just the price of 1.
Very good.
Through our
Wow,
deal.
that's awesome.
That was 48% discount from Dell.
Wow, good shopping,
Yeah.
Erica.
So Danny's party planning was very successful thanks to a group of volunteers, and Danny was very pleased with the evening, and I hope it was sufficient honor for his 47 years of working for this town.
Impossible, but
Yeah,
it was
truly.
nice.
I had a meeting with Colin Bratton from Wyndham Regional. He's our transportation helper. He's the transportation consultant. And we have 2 grants currently in process that he's helping with. One for culvert on State Rock Road and one for scoping study in Algiers Village. So those are on track and just getting started. I worked with the town auditors on planning the town report and the timing and who's going to do what and when. I've been working with a few vendors and the Guilford Guide volunteer group to get all the ARPA money squared away and obligated by December 31st. Doing some year-end reporting for highway grants and other state grants. And we had a budget workshop last Thursday, and the next one is scheduled for the 19th at 1 p.m.
Okay, is that everything?
That's
No.
plenty.
Yeah, it's not everything. Well, tell us everything.
No, I don't have anything else on my list.
Greatest hits.
Yeah, greatest hits. Thanks very much, Erica. That's good. Gives a good feel for what's been happening.
How varied
How varied,
the
yeah.
tasks are.
Good. Thank you. Let's see. Any report?
Yes.
For the highway.
I do have, yes, Jimmy was thinking he might be here before he went out to ice the road, to salt the roads for the ice, but he's doing that instead probably, and so that's what they're up to now. We've had a couple of good storms since he took over.
Yeah.
Highway foreman.
Yeah.
They've been out a couple of times in the early morning hours already, and probably tonight will be no different. So he's doing a great job so far.
Good. Great. Okay, let's turn into the Guilford Volunteer Fire Department, and invite you to come up. Beth, do you want to come right up here and sit?
Making one last note, and then
Yeah.
I will join you.
That's fine. Take your
You
time.
could all come if you wanted to.
Jared, you want to come up?
We're good. Oh, no,
We're
they-
good.
They like to watch me in the hot seat. Yeah, so Beth Bristol, treasurer of the Guilford Volunteer Fire Department.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, you're welcome. You should have all received a copy of what I have in my hand, which is a summary page of what our budget has been over the last couple years, as well as our proposed budget for fiscal year 26. In short, we are requesting an additional $18,000 from the town appropriation this coming year. That actually reflects 50% of what we actually think we need, and I'll explain that a bit. So The trustees have been talking for quite some time now about the need for a new fire truck. Those purchases happen over every so many years, and we're coming up on that time of year. And the latest quotes that we're getting for the new fire trucks is upwards of $1.2 million. During the COVID years, the prices skyrocketed as everything else did. So it's been a big concern of ours is how we're going to afford this new truck purchase. You probably all recall a new fundraiser that we started last year. We did a raffle of several different types of firearms, as well as some cash prizes. It was a really profitable fundraiser. I think we made upwards of 40,000, 37, so about $37,000 in profit, which is great. So we have kind of priced out how many years it would take to accumulate what we need for this new truck. And of course, at $1.2 million, it's quite some time. You will notice in our budget currently, we have a line item of $36,000 per year that we've been putting into a truck fund. Our truck fund balance right now is at about $180,000. We also have, at the bottom of your page highlighted in orange, as you know, we also have a line item for a capital fund. That's $35,000 a year. The balance of that is about $140,000. And that's not specifically earmarked for anything, it's just as a capital fund. So theoretically, we have the potential of combining those two funds if needed to go towards a truck. We still are woefully shy of what we would need. Our current engine 2 is the last truck that we purchased. Correct me if I get any of this wrong. And I think the financing on that truck is up in 3-4 years. So ideally, we would time it such that we could purchase the new truck when those payments for engine 2 subside and pick up the payments of the new truck. We still would need a hefty down payment at that time, and also the requirement for ordering a new truck is to order it several years in advance, and you need a down payment. Long story short.
At the time of order, you need a down payment?
Yeah, so of course they give they give you credits or lower rates if you pay more upfront. So the more we could give, the more benefit we would have. So what we ideally would like to do is to double the truck payment line item in our budget.
Yes,
So
yes.
from 36, to 72, which would be an additional $36,000 per year. We were not comfortable asking for $36,000 more from the town this year. So we thought if we did half of it this year and then bumped up to the full amount next year, it would give folks, a chance to understand that that was coming and give some heads up. Additionally, what we are proposing this year, as you can see in the budget, is to fund some of the budget through this fundraiser, the gun raffle. So if you see at the bottom, the total increase in the budget is for $48,000. $38,000 is for the truck fund. 18 of that 48 is coming from the town appropriation request, and the other 30,000 is offset by the gun raffle. So we are putting in 30,000 from the fundraiser, asking for 18 from the town, which takes us up to the 48. And then additionally, we've added $10,000 to fundraising expenses, which is needed to purchase the guns for the raffle.
Is that based on the rising cost, or are you just are buying more?
For the guns?
Yeah.
So they ran about $7,000 or $8,000, I think, last year.
Yep.
So we budgeted 10 for this next year. Yep, same number of guns, but price increases, and we do the cash payments as well. You'll see also in the expense line items, a few other lines that have changed, those net to zero. So the only increases is to the fundraising and to the truck fund. The others net out. So you'll see some increases, some decreases, but it's a net zero.
Can you just speak for a second?
Sure.
Maybe you should finish.
No, I think that's done. I'm anticipating questions, so.
Okay, good. Here comes one.
Okay.
Could you speak for a moment about the payroll expense, our line 31 here, 6,300? It looks like last year it was more in the neighborhood of where you're budgeting, so you're just changing the budget expectation?
Yeah, so we only have payroll for our officers and then for the treasurer position. One of our officers doesn't accept a paycheck.
Oh, so that's
and so we've kept it in the budget, but he continues to decline the payment. So we figured it was time to adjust the budget so that we could use that money elsewhere.
And you're pretty much pretty confident that person will serve us in the office again in this budget year?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
And so, 2 questions. One is, how far in advance do you have to order the truck?
Mm-hmm.
And also, how long does one of these trucks last with the kind of wear and tear it has?
And what kind of truck is it?
Well, that wouldn't help me.
Yeah, I was just asking out of curiosity. It's big and it's red or yellow.
Big, red, and has water.
Yeah.
As far as ordering, they're telling us right now if we ordered it today, it would be a minimum of 4 years
Whoa.
to produce it. So that's why we need to kind of get on. We've
get on the
created
list.
a committee. We've met with 4 different dealers that make the trucks. We've gotten prices back on the same truck from all 4 different dealers, and they're all hovering right around between $1 million and $1.3, which is unbelievable. So that's why we're kind of combining, replacing. There's 2 trucks that are coming up. NFPA, which is the National Fire Protection Agency, whose rules and that we are governed by. We kind of go under their umbrella on what to do and what not to do. They say every 25 years that we need to replace the fire truck. Small departments are having a hard time with that, especially now with that. So we're trying to think ahead and trying to replace 1 truck that'll do more than everything. So we're putting a little more water on this one, and we're also putting a 6-man cab versus just a 2-person cab. So we're gonna do that for the next truck and then kind of dumb down our tanker. And I guess is an easier way to explain it when we do.
What does dumb down that's
Well, I'm sorry, we're not gonna have so many bells and whistles on the tanker. Right now, it's called a pumper tanker. And we have a 2,000 gallon a minute pump on it. We have 2,500 gallons of water, and we have all the gear, air packs and everything on it. Do we need that?
Mm-hmm.
Because right now we're trying to cut costs. Do we need something that just needs to get the water there and then we can supply all the bells and whistles and gear and everything with the other 2 trucks? Which that will make that 3rd truck a little cheaper. So we've been kind of thinking that way. Our tankers are 2006. So it's in great shape, low miles, low hours. We're a volunteer department. So it's very hard to swallow all this and trying to figure out that they're telling us we got to get rid of it and jump to a new one. So we're trying to figure out how to do that so it doesn't take everybody out.
So are you planning to use the debt service that you're currently paying, just kind of move that over to this?
Move that over. I anticipate that payment having to be higher, of course, unless we're able to put a larger down payment. And so, as I mentioned, one of the ideas that we had that we've been throwing around is maybe using some of the capital fund. Like I said, we have a truck fund and a capital fund. Should we use some of the capital fund towards the truck? That would work, but then, it leaves us with a
big
a big chunk, plus then we don't have the money earmarked for any capital improvements down the road. So we are working on a capital plan to see what we might have coming up for capital expenditures in addition to the truck before we, would make any proposal in that regard.
know you're not supposed to ask questions, but I'm gonna
Yeah, you're not
anyways.
going to, sorry, thank you. You can, there's 15 minutes at the end of the meeting. Okay, thanks very
Okay.
much.
These guys weren't gonna stick around for that, but it was just.
They might, I don't know, yeah.
If there is questions, and we aren't here at the meeting or whatever, we're at the fire station every Tuesday night, my number's in the book. Please feel free to
Okay,
reach out with anything. We want to be very open with whatever we're doing, so we're not.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
very
in
good.
24, the 13.8 and change, that came out of what? Where does that money come from? And then as it roll, like for the under the line fundraising expenses, and now this next one is gonna be 15. I'm sort of just trying to make sure that I'm a rookie at all this budget stuff.
That's
So in
okay.
case there's a community question, I wanna make sure I have the right answers going forward.
Yeah, so fundraising expenses last year did not include the purchase of the guns.
Right?
We actually were able to we used the proceeds from the fundraiser to pay. They were kind of fronted to
Okay.
us, which was nice. Going forward, we're gonna have to pay for the guns up front.
Oh, I see.
So that's why we requested the additional 10. But you'll also see that our fundraising, so our expenses are 10 and our income is the 30.
Okay. And that's pretty much a guarantee, I'm assuming, the 30?
Yeah, we've talked about that and, the consensus through the community and the folks that we sold tickets to is that they're eager to continue buying tickets.
Right.
And we talked about that. Is this just a one-time thing or can we count on it? And I think when they sell the tickets, they get a pretty good sense of whether folks are interested in this on an ongoing basis. So for now, yes.
That's pretty good.
Will a day come? Probably.
Yeah.
Saturation point.
Yeah, but we'll just have to, I mean, that's a risk, right? If we're gonna put income coming from this fundraiser, it's counting on the fundraiser doing well.
Right.
Yeah.
And so is the $2,000 increase, budget increase for communications, is that related to the fundraiser as well? Just trying to reach people more?
No, that one's interesting. That's actually due to a fee increase for consolidated communications. I don't know if anybody else has experienced this, but for businesses, the price is doubled from consolidated communications. I got the bill and I was like, what is this? And I called and she said, yeah, across the board, business accounts. So one of the things that we're gonna look into is we have Comcast for our internet and cable and that kind of thing. Seeing if maybe we can get a cheaper rate through Comcast. So that's something we're looking into, but wanted to make sure that we budgeted for it because it's an expense we have right now.
Thanks, good to understand. And then if you would just speak, I think I know the answer for legal and accounting, but if you could just speak to that increase as well.
Sure, so that's our our audit. Annually, we do some type of an audit service. So we're on a 4-year cycle. Every 4 years, we do a full audit. The other years, the year prior to the full audit, we do what's called a review, which is, a step below the full audit. And then the other 2 years, we do a compilation, which is even a step lower than that. So that's part of our financial policy that we have in place, is to do a full audit every 4 years. And that's taking place right now. And so we anticipate the expense being in next year's budget.
I see, okay. And so, okay. Are there any other questions from folks on this select board?
I don't think so.
So what we'll do is, this will just go right into the budget.
Okay.
Budget preparations that the select board's doing, and then this final budget figures, of course, are for the town to decide,
Sure.
not for the select board.
Yep.
So
And we'll be prepared to give the same kind of spiel at town meeting and explain everything.
there'll be a pre-town meeting, so
Yep.
there might come questions at that time as
Sure.
well. So
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, and then I really appreciate that you're saying that, you guys are available
Yep.
for questions and things
Absolutely,
like that.
whoever's listening, whoever you see or talk to, stop in. If there's vehicles there, the door is open.
Okay, great. Thanks very much. All right, anything else?
No, it's
All right, I think then we'll
Well,
move.
thanks so much
Thanks for coming.
out.
Thanks a
Thank you.
lot.
Travel safely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
A little slick.
Okay, folks, we'll move on then to the ARPA, to old business now. These are topics that have been before the select board before in the last short while, and we are going to be talking about remaining ARPA dollars tonight. So I'm going to turn this part of it over to Erica, I think.
Yes, okay.
Does that sound good?
Sure, thank you. We, Guilford, after going through $637,139 that was awarded to us by the federal government, we had $11,815 left over, unaccounted for and
Obligated.
yes. So, I mean, it wasn't awarded either. That was just,
Right.
It was just not, well, it was to the grant writer, but that didn't happen.
Right.
The grant writer concept of Wyndham Regional Commission, but that wasn't something that ended up happening. So we split that in two and used some of it for something else, and then we were left with the $11,815. So we happen to have very close to that amount in security-related and technology-related updates and upgrades that need to be done. So you all saw in your folder my proposal.
Mm-hmm.
Most of these amounts are exact, and I just need to sign off on the quotes and get the work done. Let's see. So there's I think we talked about all this already, but just to go over it again, proposal to change the door entry system to the town office to a key card for one of the doors. So that's a $3,000 installation. We have been talking for quite some time about getting cameras for the town office, hardwired security camera, also around $3,000. And then fortunately, Danny was here in the last meeting that we were talking about this, and he said the cameras in the garage need replacing badly too. They're very old and they just don't work anymore. So we got Tim from HSS to come, and he showed up today and gave a quote for that, which is a little bit more because the distance between the cables are longer and it's a little more tricky installation, but his quote was just slightly higher than the one for the town office for the garage. So that will feel good to get that more secure. We have some necessary IT updates for the town office. And like I said, I was able to get some computers at a really good price. So that would be very good use of that money. And there's $17.56 left for the radar signs that we bought with ARPA funds. And there's that much money left that wasn't covered by the $20,000 award or on the cloud contract for the signs.
Okay, so
that comes to a little bit more than the 11,815 that we have left, but there is also another grant that we have to spend by the end of December. So between the two, it's almost perfect, and I think it'll work out. Any of these things could also, if both of these grants are used up and there's a little overage, any of these things could be under regularly budgeted things too.
I see what you mean, yeah.
So we're covered all kinds of ways.
I had a question just about the key card entry, just because I didn't understand the process. I mean, I understood that. Is that like going to a hotel?
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I called them 3 or 4 times in the last couple of days just to get the real, how is it going to work situation. So I think I feel
so
pretty
one
good.
door will be.
One door will have the key card thing, and then the rest will just stay locked unless someone's in the office to open. Like the front door will just be opened when staff is here and public is able to come in. Otherwise, that door will be locked and this door will have the key card.
And who will have the key cards?
Same people who have keys now,
Okay.
commission chairs and
Right. Okay.
cleaners and
Oh, cleaners, right, of course.
Jimmy.
Jimmy,
Yeah.
right.
Okay, so just to say it one more time, just so we're really clear, we have $11,815 remaining in the ARPA funds to spend. And Erica has given us a proposal that totals $13,368. So that's a little higher. So what I understand from that is that there's no problem with us being able to use all the ARPA dollars
Right.
in the ways you're describing. There won't be any overage remaining. And the overage that's on this proposal will be paid in another way, not with ARPA dollars,
By the other grant.
by the other
Okay.
grant. Does that all make sense to
Yeah,
everybody?
I
We all
think it's,
clear
yeah, it's
here?
a must do in my mind.
Okay. So I will move at this point that that the select board approve of this proposal as Erica has described it to us, and that we finalize the ARPA dollar amounts by authorizing expenditures as Erica has described.
I'll second that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Is there any further discussion at the board level? All right, all those in favor of approving this proposal and authorizing Erica to spend these dollars signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Okay, thanks very much.
Okay, well, I think the next item on the agenda is the appointment of a select
No,
board.
wait.
Whoops.
Oh, Guilford
Guilford
Guide.
Guide is the
Oh,
second part of the
I
ARPA.
was- Oh,
I apologize for not
Sorry.
giving this out earlier. This
Oh, we
is,
have some.
do you have some already?
Yeah, I
Thank
printed
you.
that for you to know.
So, as usual, Erica is underplaying just how critical she's been in making sure that we get the ARPA dollars obligated before the end of the year. So, big shout out to Erica for keeping the Guilford Guide on its toes. So, tonight what we're doing is obligating $5,997 of ARPA funds that the select board already approved for this project. We're just going through the motions to make sure we're fulfilling all the ARPA criteria. So you have in front of you the expenses that we've estimated for the design and layout, printing cost, mailing. You'll note that the total expense exceeds the ARPA funds, but the additional funds will be paid for out of existing planning commission funds. The goal for sure the guide as well as the planning commission is to have no money spent on the guide that exceed what's already available.
Mhm.
So there'll be no additional cost to residents for this initiative.
Okay. All right.
yeah,
Is that clear? Everybody's saying it's the same, I'll just to say it, it's the same situation. We have an ARPA award to obligate. We have expenses on this proposal that are quite a bit higher than that ARPA amount, but the remaining dollars will be paid for those expenses out of existing planning commission funding.
yeah, I just wanted to add a comment because I've been on the guide committee, and there's a really dedicated group of unpaid volunteers, as volunteers generally are, working on the guide. And I've also had communication with people from other towns that have been involved in making the guides that were the inspiration for ours. And in that communication, they've talked about how important these guides could be to different communities, and that maybe there should be just a meeting of people who were working on these guides to try to create, if not a template, then a kind of overview so people wouldn't be inventing a greater arc of the wheel than they need to do. And it was really interesting communication that I was pleased to be part of. So,
Great.
yeah, it's more grinding toil, but
Yeah.
it's sort of enjoyable.
I know it's work, good work. So I will move that we approve of this proposal to obligate the $5,997 from the ARPA fund in the way that it's proposed here.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think it's brilliant. I wish every commission would come with fully funded projects. It would be great. So we just have to go, that's a great idea.
Well,
Yeah,
actually, creating a guide's been in the town plan for the last 2 iterations. And so the select board years ago started putting money into the planning commission fund. So we're actually taking advantage of wise decision-making made,
I was saying,
I don't know, a decade or
Previously.
more
It was a
ago.
long time
A
ago.
long time ago,
Wow,
because I
good
saw that we
foresight.
get $10,000, like, where did that come from? So the people on the select board doing the right thing at the right time, so they put us in this position today, so.
Good work.
Do you know of any other local towns that have put together something like this? That we can-
Dummerston did quite a while ago, and then there was Bethel and
Bethel.
Middlesex,
Yeah.
and
There's another one, Hardwick, maybe, somewhere up in the Northeast Kingdom.
it's a good idea, because we've got neighbors that moved across, who used to live here, and they moved back, and they hit us with electricity, phone, cable, all of that. It'd be great to just go, here you go. Yeah.
I wonder if I should recuse myself from, I mean, I don't have any financial advantage to being part of the guide, but I am on the committee.
That's up to you, Brenda.
Okay, well, I think I won't vote on it.
Okay.
So let's go ahead. All those in favor of approving this proposal signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining?
Right.
Thank you, Jeanette. Thanks very much. Okay, now we'll move on to the next order of business, the appointment of a select board member.
Okay, and so I wanted to just step in and handle that. We are really lucky to have someone from the community come forward, someone with a whole lot of experience that will be really wonderful to have on the select board, and some skill sets that we don't already represent. And so I wanted to propose that we appoint Mike Sostek to fulfill the term until
Town meeting.
town meeting, so that we still have 5 members on our board.
Yeah.
Is there a second?
I will second that.
Okay, is there any discussion?
I looked at his resume, I thought it was really impressive.
Yeah,
Yeah, really nice. Yeah, absolutely. He has some incredible shoes to fill, but yeah, no,
well,
Very sweet.
yeah.
okay, so all in favor of appointing Mike Sostek to the select board indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Any abstaining? Oh, and I said aye too.
Yes.
I just forgot. Okay, well, Mike, thank you so much.
Congratulations.
for-
Very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right.
There's no going back now, you know that, right? Okay.
Okay, so thank you very much. And I would just want to say for the community here that if people aren't aware, there was a month-long community process by which members of the community could apply to serve in this role. And so the select board accepted Mike's interest with interest, as you just see. So that's great. Okay, let's move ahead to the new business now. And we need to talk about at least the notion of a pre-town meeting date. And it's potentially, this is a single meeting decision, but it seems like it's the kind of thing that we can move on relatively quickly and easily. It's a matter of collaborating with the Grange to find a good date, and I think they're actually proposing the date to us.
Yes.
So I think it's a matter of us just agreeing that that's a good option. I do want to say a couple of things.
I do too.
Okay, good. Do you want to go first?
Well, I heard from Tara today, and she is not going to be able to be at the date. Did we say the date yet?
No.
Okay, February 20th. It's a Thursday, based on the change of town meeting to the first Saturday in March.
That's pre-town meeting, the 20th.
March 1st, yeah, so the
Yeah,
20th would be pre-town meeting.
That would be the date that it's required.
That's what they proposed. So Tara can't make that, and she reminded me that it was school vacation week as well, so,
That's true.
yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I wonder if based on that, we should change it.
Well, in some ways,
Although it's,
we have a different
No, okay.
relationship. I mean,
It's like the only day that works for me, Thursday, so.
okay, all right, we're not changing it.
well, I'm just thinking that because, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but because we're having an in-person town meeting, unlike our COVID times, it's really the Grange's hosting of
Correct.
pre-town meeting, and the select board will be there to clarify things. But I believe that the decision is that of the Broadbrook Grange. Is that true?
Yes, that's exactly what I wanted to just reiterate for everybody in the community, that during COVID, and there were certain stipulations about how town meetings needed to run, there was a requirement that select boards provide a pre-town meeting. And it's all laid out in the statute, the timing of all of that and everything. That no longer applies here because we're no longer under those guidelines, under those regulations at this point. So what you're saying is absolutely right. It's basically the Grange, not BBCC, but the
Right.
Grange is holding this meeting, as they have done for years, as a way to just encourage people to be more informed. So it's not a select board meeting. I think part of the reason we collaborate is just to make sure that we as select board members know that we can be there. And so that's.
And should be there.
And should be there, yeah, and should be there, yeah, if possible.
Could I just ask something? I noticed that Don McLean is in our studio audience here, and I wondered whether, that date is firm for the Grange, or
I think
whether.
let's talk about that later. We
Oh.
won't, let's not enter into a conversation with.
Oh, okay, I was just thinking that if we were going to endorse the pre-town meeting date, we might want to, we might not want to finalize it until we talk to them, unless that's just what we're going to do. I mean, it's their deal.
Right, and it's been proposed to us that it be February 20th, is that correct?
Right.
Yeah, so I think it's up to us to just, as a board, to just agree that we either agree or not agree that February 20th is the day that we'll do it.
Yeah, I'm fine with that, I'm excited
Okay.
about it. It's good for me.
I'd like to just put it on the table to try to agree on it now if we can.
Okay,
Yeah, I
Okay.
agree.
all right.
I agree with your
So
agreement.
I'll make the motion then that we accept the pre-town, the Grange's offer of a pre-town meeting for February 20th.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Great. Okay. We had a lot of discussion. Is there any further
No,
discussion?
I don't think so.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? Okay. It may come up
What
again.
time? Is it 6:30?
It is in the evening.
Yeah, I don't
Got
know
that far.
exactly what time. I don't know. I think-
TBD.
At TBD, all right.
All right, then the next order of business, which is new, it relates to very old business, but it's a new action. It's the potential creation of a restricted fund for the bond funds. And I'll just take a minute and explain very quickly so we all know what we're talking about here. So folks in the community may remember that there was discovered about 5 years ago in a bond bank that Guilford had a bond of around $190,000 at that point. And we were it was coming due, and we were just about finished with it, and it's actually money that is ours, and it wasn't used for its original purpose, why it was bonded. It wasn't used for that purpose, so it needs to return to Guilford. It will be returned to Guilford, and now in order for us to do the right thing by it from an accounting point of view, the accountant recommends, our professional accountant recommends that we create a restricted fund for this bond fund. And the reason for that is because these dollars are, the use of these dollars when they are ever used needs to be approved by the voters of Guilford.
Oh,
The
like
dollars
that.
are not available for the select board.
Oh, cool.
So we need to set up a very clear space for them, for the funds, so that they'll be present in our accounting and can be seen. And so this is the year to do that.
Oh, brilliant.
And I do want to also clarify that a restricted fund is not the same thing as a reserved fund. A reserved fund has to be set up by the voters. And this does not require a reserve fund. Guilford has a couple of 2 or 3 reserved funds that have been set up by the voters and that we use for the purposes as they're designed. However, restricted funds in this accounting term, this way of accounting, can be set up by the select board in order to protect those funds, essentially. And then when they're ready to be used, then we would the select board would bring any proposal to the voters about how to use those potential uses for those funds.
Perfect.
So,
Could I ask a question?
sure.
So the decision or the question of how to use these restricted funds in the future, is that a town discussion or a sort of community discussion, let's say from some entity like the Historical Society or the library coming to us? I just don't understand whether there's a specific process attached to it or what.
I think actually there's not a specific process attached to the funds, but I think that, as I understand it, but what I think can happen is that anyone in the community and the select board can propose a use for those funds. And then that proposed use is put before the town. Obviously it has to be done at a town meeting, or a special town meeting.
Yeah, that's the bottom line. The town needs to vote on the use of the funds, and there are already restrictions. It basically needs to be applied to a project.
Yes, it can't just be, let's use this to reduce taxes or
Unfortunately,
whatever.
right, that's true.
Exactly.
Right,
It
okay.
has to be organized into a project. So we saw about 3 years ago, these dollars were actually used as part of a project, and they were proposed to be used for a project, which was voted yes, and then there was a revote.
So we
and it was
remember.
voted, yeah. So we've had a little bit of experience in the community trying to figure out how to use these dollars, and so it would come under that same kind of situation.
The difference there is, though, that the bond bank is returning the funds to Guilford, which is a very good thing because it has been in the bank not earning any interest. And now, as part of our general fund, in a restricted fund, it can earn interest.
It will start earning
Yes,
interest, yeah.
so
So
that's
there's
good.
the potential for it to grow however it will grow, correct. So I will just in the interest of good management practices and accounting practices, I will move that the select board create this restricted fund called Restricted Fund for Bond Funds. So I move that.
I will second that.
Thanks, Chip. Is there any further discussion about that?
It's a great idea.
So are we only at the moment creating this restricted fund for bond funds just for that one single
Yes.
bond?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm noticing it's plural, so is the potential for other bonds?
I don't
or-
think that it would be, I don't think any other bond funds would be added to that. It would just be, once the town votes on a purpose and uses the money, it would be closed.
And the other thing is that those are bond funds. They are funds. $175,000 are funds, bond funds, not like this fund and that fund.
Yeah.
We have one restricted fund to be used for these 175,000 bonded funds.
So it's a one-time thing.
Yeah, it's a one-time thing. Yeah.
But if some of it is used for a project, then the rest will remain in the bond fund.
Yes, in this restricted fund.
Yes, that's what I,
Yeah, that's what you mean, yeah. Mhm. Okay, any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of creating a restricted fund for these bond funds, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Okay, thanks very much, folks. Now we'll move on to other business, of which I think there is none that I'm aware of. I will move right then into correspondence, and I do want to speak about 2 items that we received. Maybe we should have this one first. You want to read it?
We got
oh,
Oh, very nice.
A thank you card from,
from Danny. Says, Select Board, thank you for all the years of support and a great retirement party. It was very overwhelming.
it's overwhelming, isn't it?
That's pretty good, yeah.
And it's a really nice party.
Very nice,
So,
okay, good. Thank you very much.
Thanks for the thanks.
Thanks, Danny.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank
that
you.
makes me weepy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Overwhelming, I mean, overwhelming.
Yes, overwhelming.
Absolutely. Okay, and then the other piece of correspondence that the select board received this week after the agenda was already posted, so otherwise it would be on the agenda, so it will have to be dealt with in a different way. We received an allegation, what's called an allegation of violation of open meeting law. Now, we're experienced with these. We've received a number of these over the years. We won't take time to read it now. It's about allegations of a particular committee of the select board and its processes. So the letter has been sent to the town attorney, and there are very clear statutory guidelines about how this has to be processed and what actions need to be taken as far as addressing this. And so we're in touch with the town's attorney and who will advise us about both the statutes for addressing the allegation, and the attorney will probably also advise a course of action related to the allegation. So we'll hear more about that later. The committee will hear more about that later as we go forward.
And so, excuse me, is there a specific time frame is this going to require a special meeting that would,
Yes, I imagine it will.
a special meeting in a specific time frame?
10 days.
10 days, and I don't know when the 10 days starts. And that's what the town's attorney will tell us. I've forgotten that part.
When the 10 days start?
So it cannot wait until the first meeting in January.
Right.
It can't wait till then. So it will have to happen sometime within 10 days ish. And I don't know exactly what that looks like and feels like. So we'll have to.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Can it be a hybrid meeting, considering the weather?
Oh,
Yes.
you mean, yes, it could be.
To deal with it?
Yes.
Okay.
We did that in the past as well. Yeah.
Let me ask you this, just from a point of clarification, because the committee that was the open meeting law violation has really no association with the select board technically, but we have to respond to it because we were notified that the individual is pursuing an open meeting law violation against this particular committee.
Yeah, by statute, that's what, this is the
Right.
appropriate place. And the reason it comes here is because it's not that the allegations might be about a particular part of somebody
No, it's
that's not
nothing we've
us.
done. No,
Yes,
it's
exactly.
completely separate.
But we are the judicial body. for
Yes,
this
that's why,
category.
that's what I was
the
wondering.
function,
Okay,
yeah.
so
we're-
because it was brought to our attention, we need to respond to it,
Yeah.
even though, okay,
We're
we're not
We need
really
to-
associated
So,
with it.
yeah, so
Okay.
Judge.
we need to judge the allegation and
gotcha.
determine whether or not there's action that needs to be taken.
Got you, okay.
And that's all very prescribed by statute.
Yeah, I read
We-
that,
we
so I
don't
just
get
want to make
control
sure,
that.
but,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
Yeah. All right, okay, now we come to the second moment in the meeting where we offer comment period for the public. So if there's anyone in the room here, or Dolores might like to speak, or there's anyone online, happy to have.
After you go,
So,
Of course, you can't answer the question, but I was curious how many people had applied for the position that Mike ended up getting. I'm very happy.
I'm happy to say one.
Okay,
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
all right. And so I think Mike will be a good addition. He is open, and actually he may be open to actual conversation as opposed to shut out as it is now. And, oh no, I just got the eye roll from Mike. And I guess that was it. And another thing is, just now when you said about the open, we've been dealing with these open meeting, allegations, that might be a little something to think about. Well, like, why is there so many allegations of it? You guys all say, nope, it wasn't anything. But there's a reason why people are thinking that they're being shut out, and that the open meeting laws or statutes, or however you put it, are being violated. And to me, it's because people are feeling like they're being shut out.
Okay,
And
thank
that's my
Right.
say.
you. Thank you. All right, is there anyone else in the community that'd like to say a word?
Oh,
I have
Jeanette.
Jeanette?
don't expect an answer, but a hypothetical. Now that you've created a restricted fund, could conceivably the town vote to release those funds from a restricted fund and put them into the general fund? Is there a mechanism where the town could vote to reallocate to a different category? I don't expect you to know the answer, but it's
Yeah,
like, it's a
I
nice thought
think-
experiment.
I think,
I don't think
I mean, I don't think so. I think they can
Okay.
only be used for, they can only be attributed to a project that is undertaken by
What
the
if
town.
the town, there was a warrant that proposed that they be dissolved from that entity and moved to a different entity, is my question.
That might be, I don't know the answer to that. We'd probably need,
in a certain way.
Yeah.
But
It
now
has
the
to be
borrowing
used.
term is over. I just a thought.
yeah, interesting, yeah.
Oh, you know what, I just wanted to note that a neighbor of mine, Glenn Philgate, who lives right on Sweet Pond, he just recently died.
We did,
And I just
Oh,
wanted to, his kids
Is that
are
Silas's
Guilford,
dad?
yes,
Yeah.
Silas.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, Silas Tyson and Colby's dad, and, he's a longtime neighbor, and Mary Philgate, who is an important caregiver and had that wonderful flower garden where she gave so many flowers to the teachers at the school every year for staff appreciation, so I just wanted to note as a milestone, that grieving family, and also to celebrate that Jeanette's a grandma.
Yes.
Oh, cool,
Jeanette.
congratulations,
Oh.
wow.
My first grandchild,
Yeah.
a girl,
Names?
Calliope.
Oh, great name.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's a really cool name.
Yeah.
Wow, you do not look old enough to be a grandmother, I'm telling you that right now.
All right, any other comments in the community?
And I'm on the record, so you know that's true, I'm not just blowing smoke here.
Okay, folks, thanks very much. Then we'll move right on to the next order of business, which is actions. Bear with me as I recount the actions from the November 25th meeting. We approved the minutes of the November 14th meeting. We approved an amendment to the warrants, and then we approved payment of the warrants, and we appointed Matt Stitchfield as tree warden. Good opportunity for Guilford. All right, then for this evening, our actions were to approve the minutes of the previous meeting, November 25th. We approved a set of warrants. The select board approved in two motions use for the remaining ARPA dollars. Those are all now obligated and can be duly reported to the federal government. The select board appointed a new select board member to take the seat that I'll be vacating. We also accepted the offer of the Grange to hold a pre-town meeting on Thursday, February 20th. And we created a restricted fund for existing bond funds that are coming to the town. I think that's everything we did tonight.
Can I just say one thing?
Yes, yeah.
The funds aren't obligated yet. Some
Okay.
of them, they need to be under contract, so I'm going to be making sure that that happens.
All right, so thank you very much. So we have authorized as
No
part
one
of the,
escapes.
we've authorized Eric to be certain that those dollars are obligated, and then it can be reported to the federal government. Okay. Gosh, I remember the first part of this. It's really impressive how far this has gone. All right, folks, those are the actions that we took this evening. The next order of business is an adjournment.
Oh, no,
No.
before we have our adjournment, let's see, the select board wanted to embarrass you with riches. And so here, this is coming to you, but first, there's a poem.
Oh my God, I love it.
It's not very long.
That's
thank
great, that's
goodness.
fine, that's
Okay,
perfect.
here
I just love it. All
Okay,
right,
so
okay.
here you go. It's, I mean, as everybody in our studio audience knows, Zahn conducts the Juneau Chamber Orchestra, and so I took my message from that. Our small finale for Zahn Easties. You did not pick the pieces played, yet were always first to face the music. Violation, praise, statute, and measure, through thick and thin you sought composure. Evening stirred this local chamber, conducting the movements of our quintet. May grievance ease toward harmony, as neighbor to neighbor, let's not forget.
Thank you. Thank you very
Right,
much.
that
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, thank you.
Yes,
That's
and
lovely.
they're here.
Oh my, oh, look at that. All right, I won't open that now, or shall I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh, it feels like it's all this stuff though.
Well, you don't have to worry about that.
Oh, I just go like this. Oh, Peter Havens.
There you go, that's, yeah.
That's what's in there.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness sakes, look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, right, wonderful. Thank you all very much. Thank you, thank you. It's been as I said to you all, it's been a distinct honor to serve on the select board with you all and to serve this remarkable town. And now I have other tasks in front of me, and I look forward to those, but I will not forget. I will think fondly on you all.
Yeah, nice job, buddy. It's fun. It's been really fun working with you.
Thank you. All right,
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
all right, thanks. I'll second that.
Okay.
All those in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining?
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned, and the next meeting will be, the next regular meeting of the select board will be on January the 13th.
Perfect.
Correct. With Mike.
All right, nice job, Mike.